Morning Show. I'm your host, Daisy Atino, and you are live on USIU Radio 99.9 FM. Welcome to the second hour of our show where we have our amazing guest who I will let introduce herself.
My name is Chantelle Mukabi and I'm the chairperson of the USIU Spoken Arts and Debate Society. And yeah, I'm just really happy to be here and happy to finally meet you, Daisy, in person.
Nice meeting you too. It's been awesome, connecting with Chantelle, and I'm so glad that she made it here today. Chantelle, just so that people can get to know you more, could you just speak on exactly what Suds is? Because I know for a fact Suds is an interesting abbreviation, SAD.
Yeah.
So could you just expand on that and just tell us what exactly Suds is?
Yes. So first of all, with the abbreviation, it was actually a point of contention with the committee because we didn't want people to associate it with being sad.
Yeah.
But what it actually means is the Spoken Arts and Debate Society. So we stand for different forms of spoken arts, things like public speaking, poetry, spoken word, and debate. And so what the Rebrand basically constituted was an evolution from the public speaking club, which focused on public speaking and debate, to now incorporating other forms of speaking like spoken arts and poetry.
So how did you guys come to this place where all these other parts of debate, spoken arts, poetry came together and decided let's all become one club?
Well, we realized that different members within our club had different talents for different things. And we really wanted to honor the potential that they had because we realized that what the club was before as a public speaking club, first of all, it was a marketing issue because people thought that we were just about public speaking and maybe formal speaking, like speeches, presentations. But we wanted to let people know that it's not just about public speaking, it's also about accessing the different talents and different things that you have to offer within the speaking world. So we wanted to let them know you can come in and do your poetry pieces, your spoken word pieces, and it just basically came from a point of where the members stood and where they were most comfortable because not all of them wanted to do debate, not all of them wanted to speak formally.
Yeah, I like that. So you just decided to create this space where all these forms of speaking, poetry, debate could just meet up and just connect, instead of having those differences, and yet you guys are actually the same.
Exactly.
I noticed that the rebrand from PR to Suds was very successful. I don't know if you guys out there have kept up with the Campus Weekly. The Suds Club is blowing it up. They are always in the Campus Weekly. If it's not an award, it's a competition. If it's not Chantelle. So just speak to me because I know right now, since COVID happened, it's been very hard for clubs to pick back up. Tell me how this journey of rebranding has been and how you guys as a club feel to actually have been successful enough to transform this into something you're proud of. Yeah.
So the rebranding strategy actually was in my head since the time I joined the public speaking committee in it was 2019 as the executive secretary. And so as a freshman, I just wanted to gain some experience, see what club leadership is about. But then through all of that experience and through the many skills that the previous committee led by Eunice Jagi and Faith Nekoye actually taught me was that these members have so much to offer and many of us don't really know don't really feel like we have a platform or a space to be able to tap into all those talents. So by the time I ran for chair in 2020, of course, COVID hit and everything like that. But with the rebranding still in my head, I just decided to kick it off during COVID times anyway.
What? It must have been difficult because at the same time, it's like, will it actually work?
Yes.
School is online.
Exactly. So that was all part of the worry that we had. But we just got motivation from the fact that the school was transitioning so smoothly into the online classes. And we thought as long as people are still online, they still are going to want a place to be able to let go, to be able to speak and tap into their talent. And we will be that club for them. And so the transition was actually quite smooth for us in terms of just redoing the constitution, the logo, getting some professional input from different companies and different branding agents in terms of what exactly we could do. And we overall then decided to rebrand completely and just start.
How did you connect to the students at that time? It was online. Did you sort of, when you in these WhatsApp groups, did you be like, hi guys, do you want to join the Suds Club?
Yes. Well, we have, first of all, a very, very supportive patron, Dr. Queen Awar. And through her, through liaising with her, we were able to tap into the classes that she teaches because she's also an English lecturer in USIU and also, of course, has connections to other professors such as Dr. Nyari Goti, who has also helped us to recruit new members in the online journey. So what we would do is just ask Dr. Queen whether we can come in and recruit in her classes. She was more than welcome, more than happy to have us.
Wow.
And yeah, so we would just show up. We made like a small PowerPoint presentation, and we would just show up 10 minutes, just like recruit people to SAD, send them WhatsApp groups, send them the links of the softwares that we use, and they would come and we would have online sessions.
My goodness, that is amazing. That is amazing. Just off the top of your head, how many competitions has SADS been in so far, ever since the rebrand, which is, I'm guessing, 2020?
Yes, 2020. Wow, uncountable.
I know. Ballpark figure.
Ballpark figure, probably 50 to 60.
Wow.
Yeah.
You guys have been very busy.
Yes.
Very busy. And also, I saw that sometimes there are some moments when you guys have traveled. So I'd just like to know, like, how many countries have you been to, and which of these countries, were very, very memorable for you?
Cool. So we've mainly traveled around East Africa.
Okay.
And so in 2020, just about when we were transitioning to us as the new committee, we were traveling to Uganda in February, just before the COVID hit.
Okay.
Yeah, for this competition called Olympia, which takes together East Africa's 32 best speakers. So you're sent invitational letters to come and attend the championship.
Okay.
So that was actually the first travel that we did outside of Kenya, because usually we would just go around Nairobi or the furthest probably Kabarak University to support them and debate. So that was the first actual regional travel that we did. And then of course through COVID everything was locked down and we weren't able to do that. But just recently in December, once things opened back up, we went to Zanzibar.
Nice.
Yes.
Coastal vibes.
Coastal vibes, shawarma.
What?
Yes. So the team went to Zanzibar to debate Zanzibar Opens.
Okay.
And that was also something that we did pre-COVID times as well.
Okay.
Yeah, in 2019
so you were like returning to that sport.
Just returning, and supporting and making sure everything is now coming back physically.
Okay.
And right now, actually, the team is in Uganda again for Olympia this year. So I've sent 8 team members along with the chaperone being Jane Nyaga, who has gone to accompany them.
Okay, so at this point, you don't travel as chair anymore?
Well, I do, but it's just that this particular competition, I wasn't able to do so because I have some commitments on the weekend. I had made prior engagements too. Yeah, but my team is representing me very well. They arrived safely, and today is their first debate day. So I'm waiting for the updates at the end of the day.
Shout out to the USIU kids in Uganda right now. We're wishing you the best. So I know you spoke about this earlier, but could you just briefly break down for me the sections of the club? Because once again, you said there's PR, there is spoken arts, there is debate, there is poetry, and what else? I think that's it.
Yeah.
So could you just briefly, for some of us who want to understand, for example, I don't even know what spoken arts is. I feel like I know it, but I don't. So I would love you to just sort of briefly explain each of them.
Yes, yeah. So spoken arts, this is why we called it spoken arts and debate.
Yeah.
And so debate on its own is a type of speaking on its own that speaks to more logical analysis and different types of motions and things. Spoken arts can be broken down further into one, public speaking, where you're looking at creativity. So it's, for example, in formal competitions, you're thrown random topics that you can do impromptu speeches on or prepared speeches on.
That seems like it could be fun.
It's really fun.
Oh my goodness.
And sometimes the topics are quite niche and just out there. Sometimes they can tell you, like, create a speech that links terrorism and the word bottle cap.
And just go.
Just go. And you're forced to create a coherent speech that links the two and finishes off, with a bang. And so it really is something that just like speaks to your depth of creativity, how you're able to engage with different ideas. So that's what public speaking is about. Spoken word and poetry. So they basically kind of go hand in hand. They're birds of the same feather. Poetry is a bit more structured. It speaks to things, poets, for example, like Maya Angelou, Mark Twain, just going deeper into poetry and its history, but also just tapping into personal experiences that members have. And I really enjoy watching members just speak about their poems and the things they write, like in the corner of their room at night when no one is listening. So it's just a platform for them to be able to come and share more poetry. Spoken word is just a bit less structured. You can kind of take it. I'm sure you've watched some like spoken word artists on YouTube and how.
Just to interrupt you a bit, you're saying poetry is structured and spoken word is not structured. So spoken word is something that you could just get inspired and creatively come up with it in the moment.
Yeah, exactly.
So even if you make mistakes, as long as you're still flowing, right? As long as you're still making sense.
Yeah.
But then poetry, on the other hand, you actually have to sit down and build upon what you're trying to say.
Exactly. That's how I like to view it.
Yeah.
And I think that spoken words borrows both from public speaking and the just impromptu creativity of public speaking, along with the more planned and structured form of poetry. So I think it's a fusion of the two. And members really generally like to play around between those two spaces and just see what they can come up with.
Has been the greatest achievement of Suds.
Okay, so first of all, becoming world champions. I think that we always preach about that.
Yeah. So give me more about these world champions.
So the world championships, there's a few world championships within the year of debate.
Okay.
One of them is WUDC and the other is Uhuru Worlds. And so Uhuru Worlds is the one that we won in 2021.
Okay.
And it had about, 400 teams from just different, and each team is 2 people.
Yeah.
So different speakers from around the world. Wow. And it was just crazy and intense.
Competitive.
Yes, it was, and it was online, of course, for accessibility in 2021. Yeah, so we managed to bag the trophy in that, and since then it's just been like, wow, like the African debate circuit has just not let us forget that, and it's been amazing.
That is so nice. That is so nice. Congratulations. Something else, because world champion is pretty big.
It is, so that would I would probably say be my top achievement. The next one, aside from the rebranding, would definitely be our reach out to external actors. So we recently received a sponsorship from Isuzu.
Wow, congratulations. Suds. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. You guys have been on a winning streak, but please go on.
Thank you. Yes, we received a sponsorship from Isuzu East Africa. Of course, it was for the Pan-African Debate Championships that was supposed to take place in Botswana in 2021.
Yeah.
However, about a month or two to the competition, Botswana just experienced like a lockdown and there was a red zone, so they had to transition it online. However, the acquisition of the sponsorship itself, I think, was a major milestone for Suds.
It definitely was.
Yes, because we think of external actors in these powerful companies as just allies and partners who we can be able to learn from, we can be able to network with, and just expanding our reach beyond university. So after university, we can be able to still communicate with these companies, probably even get jobs there, do events with them and things like that. And so for us to be able to establish that relationship with Isuzu and for them to respond positively and support us was something
that's
great
major.
for us.
That's major. However, I just want to know, how has this boosted club interaction, like let's say for members, and also how has this boosted just the coming of new entrants, because I know sometimes it's hard for clubs to recruit. So has this been easier for people to come on board because they know they're getting onto, let's say, the winning team? Something like that?
Definitely. I would definitely say that having a strong CV backed by wins and travel and achievements is definitely a selling point for the club that
I believe
definitely use. I believe so. It's just been very dynamic, and I think also in terms of the online space as well, when people come in and interact and they're also exposed to these international competitions that we do and meet other people, when they are able to fully immerse themselves, then they understand how much work we need to put in to get those wins, and they're willing to put in the same work to be able to rise with us because we're there with them and we're helping them. So I think not only recruitment, but retention is also something that...
And I'd also say club morale.
Club morale, definitely.
How is club morale? Is it like good? Are members like committed? Do they come for meetings on time? Do people actually take everything that you guys do serious? Because most clubs have those issues where people don't come on time. When you put important information on WhatsApp, people ignore. So how is club morale? How is it when it's time for activities? Are people engaged? Are people excited?
Yeah. So I definitely would say we also have experienced our fair share of just apathy towards the club, especially during COVID times. Where everyone was just it hit everyone on a personal level, financial level, and now you're here and you're doing classes online, and then there's this club, So people were kind of in and out also, especially during online. But we did manage to maintain a few very committed members.
Are you guys trying to say like that's the biggest export of the Suds Club?
It definitely is, and we usually go
Should we say it's the money bringer?
Definitely, yes. And we usually go by by what our members are most enthusiastic about, because
there's also that.
There's that, definitely. So we have to give the people what they want.
Yeah.
And many members come on board talking about, I want to join debate. How can I join the debate club?
Yeah.
And so, of course, we avail them with the other options. Like, you still have public speaking and poetry, and you have the ability to join any of them.
Yeah.
But I think debate is very addictive. It's like a drug. It's like adrenaline. Because the training, it's like a sport, right?
Yeah.
You really have to train, and when you do put in the hours, you can see so many tangible effects.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's more like now once you get into serious competitions and you're being judged and
you
you
get
win,
fired up. You
get fired up, exactly.
Okay,
and the debate community as well around Africa and the world is massive,
Okay.
and it's much smaller. We've noticed for public speaking and poetry and spoken word, which means that it's much harder for us to find formal competitions for our guys
and
to attend,
push these other activities.
Yes, exactly.
Compared to debate, which you don't even need to push at some point. You know, it's really active. You know?
It functions on its own.
Sometimes all you have to do is just be present for some of these activities, or just show up for some of these competitions, right?
Exactly. So finding that in Nairobi, especially for people to attend, is very, very limited for spoken arts and public speaking. However, we still do try to revive the poetry and spoken words side, because we still have access to certain poets. Like, for example, in the COVID, when we were doing club sessions in COVID times, we got a few expert poets from around the world to come in and present a piece and teach us how, what their thought process is, what they do, and just speak with our members. And it also inspired actually some of our members to be able to speak in other events. So we also had another member, shout out to you, Simba Rashid in Tandazi.
I know Simba. I know Simba, yeah.
Such a talented young man.
Oh, wow.
So
I didn't know he's a poet.
Oh, his poems are amazing.
Oh, my goodness.
And he
Simba
actually was recruited to speak at a USIU faculty event on Africa Day, May 25th last year.
Amazing.
And, Dr. Quinn came and was like, look, we need a poet to be able to write a poem on Africa and everything that encompasses. And so I immediately thought Simba would be perfect for this. And he just gave a brilliant poem. He gave a brilliant performance.
This is amazing.
This is amazing. Those are the opportunities.
Shout out to the Suds Club. Shout out to everything you guys are doing.
Thank you.
For those who are listening from around USIU, could you just let them know, like, maybe where the club is situated within the school, or what's like the most formal way to contact you?
Definitely, yes. So where we meet, first of all, is in room BS2 on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 12:40 to 1:20. That's in Chandaria School of Business upstairs. So please feel free to find us there on those days and times. And how you can be able to reach out to us is we have a club email, which is sads@clubs.usiu.ac.ke. Can also definitely be found on like Campus This Week. We always include it there at the bottom of the articles. And potential members try to reach out to me as well, just through my direct contact.
You could reach out to Chantelle.
Yes, exactly. So I also provide my direct contact, and people usually just share it around and say, okay, here you can reach out to the chair and everything. So there's various ways you can be able to contact us, and I'm okay with either.
How about you? How long have you been chair?
I have been chair for a good 2 years now.
Nice. Is the tenure usually 2 years, or was this a special case?
No, this was a special case. It's usually 1 year for every club member.
Yeah, that's what I know. Yeah.
Yes. So what happened was, and this was actually an initial discussion I had with our patron, Dr. Quinn, who I mentioned before. When we were just asking her about transitions and elections and how all that is going to take place, because we also don't want to like stay in the club illegally and deny other members from
and then have issues.
So there was all of that to discuss, but we then came to the conclusion, and Dr. Quinn was in full support of this, of us staying on until school becomes physical again, so that our presence can be able to be felt in university. And that was actually her words. And I was like, thank God for that, because chairing a club and it's just completely online, you're not being able to meet people, you're not being able to have the full experience. You wouldn't want to miss out
on the full experience of when you come back to campus. I get it,
And you also can't access your club account, so you can't use that money to be able to do events and host people and go for different. So it was very, very limited, and we were doing like free online tournaments with.
Are you for real?
with the global community, which was good because a lot of these tournaments were free anyway.
Yeah.
So we were able to just go and still build our brand and access different tournaments, different skill levels. And it was actually good because it broadened our reach way beyond what we were used to, which was just Kenya.
Yeah, but now you guys went a bit international, you know?
Exactly. So now we want to be able to access that club account and to be able to also get more sponsorships to physically go to these places as well.
That would be nice. But so what you're saying is at the time when you became chair, the competition wasn't stiff?
No. It really wasn't.
Are you for real?
Yeah.
You sort of just swooped in there.
Just slid in there, from the side.
I mean, you are available. You've always loved debating, so it seemed like the right choice, right?
Yeah, and also having been the executive secretary of the previous committee, I always shadowed the chair and vice chair, and so I made it a point for me to just learn all of the systems.
So did you want to be chair?
I did.
Oh, that
from
makes
day
sense.
one. Yes.
Didn't hide it.
Didn't hide it, but I was like, I was still a freshman, so I was like, I don't know much about university, like about the school itself, let alone the processes of the clubs and everything. So I thought it would be more strategic for me to join as a year as executive secretary, learn the ropes, shadow the important people.
That's always a good move, Chantelle. I did find out from Campus Weekly again that you have personally won some awards from Suds, from these championships that you've gone for. One of the awards I know is Best Regional Speaker of East Africa and Best Speaker of Kenya.
Yeah.
Congratulations, first of all.
Thanks.
So, I didn't really get the timings of these awards. When did you win this?
We won it in the PAUDC, Pan-African Universities Debate Championships in 2020.
Oh, so this was your first year?
Yeah, as chair.
Okay.
So the end of my first year as chair, we entered that competition.
Yeah.
It was a very interesting experience because I had never done a Pan-African Championship before. They're usually annual.
Yeah.
And in December at the end of each year.
Yeah.
And we just threw ourselves in there and we ended up winning those awards, and I was quite humbled.
I know, right? And ever since then, have you been, lucky enough to win more awards?
Yes, actually.
No way. Chantelle, come on.
I mean, we don't stop. We don't stop. The grind
you
is to go.
guys never miss. What's happening?
Yeah, so I've managed to win. Actually, it was me and my vice chair, Kagia
of
Samuel.
course, it's always like a team effort,
Exactly. So each debate team, as I mentioned before, is 2 people.
Yeah.
And so me and my vice chair, Kagia Samuel, huge shout out to you, Kagia, my one, my only. We've been through so much. No, we're like work wives and husbands.
I get, like, it's been a lot
like
to get
my
the
work
club.
husband. Yeah.
Nice.
So just like on a professional level, we've been through so much together.
Yeah.
And of course, like on a debate level as well. So like our connection in terms of that is really deep.
Yeah.
So we were able to we did the Pan-African Championships in 2020 together. Okay. And then in 2021 in January, actually a month after the Pan-African Championships, we became the world champions.
I just got chills hearing that right now. Please go on, world champions.
Yes. So we managed to win that. We then won another global championship called Global ESL. Yeah. English as a second language. And
so these are all debates.
These are all debates, that are just international competitions.
Okay.
We also won African Nations Debate League, which brings together all these different African countries. It's an invitational championship, so they select the top speakers of each country, and then we come together, and then so we won that. And then we've also been able to bag trophies in like local events as well, regional events. In Olympia, in Uganda.
Where exactly do you guys keep these awards? At school? At some of them personal?
Yeah, so actually there's 2 types of awards. There's medals, or 3. Medals, certificates, and trophies. So the trophies we bring to school because they like to brandish.
I know, I have passed through the student center and seen, all the awards,
Exactly.
USIU likes to let people know.
They do. You've seen the sports trophies as well. Yes, they like to brandish. And then the personal awards are the certificates and the medals.
Chantelle, I would like to know, have you always been passionate about debating ever since? Has this been like your thing for a long time?
No.
Or did you pick up on this somewhere along the road?
You would be surprised to know. No.
What?
I didn't even know what debating was when I joined university. And for the first semester, I was just coasting. I just didn't, so I wanted to join a club to help me work on my speaking because I used to be the most pathetic speaker you would ever see. Like, I think
it always starts out like that.
Yeah, like it's just I was so scared to speak publicly, and I was like, okay, this isn't going to fly, because in my career and later in life I always have to speak. And so once I joined the public speaking club, I then was exposed to debate. And I was like, okay, what is this thing? So I didn't really know what it was, and I didn't know what the format was as well. So I threw myself into this competition called Mashuja that Strathmore usually hosts, like on a monthly basis when they are in session. And so I decided, let me just go by myself and see what this is about. So I went. I partnered with someone from Strathmore called Fadili, my first ever debate partner.
You have to remember your first ever partner.
Oh, you have to. And we actually won.
What?
Yeah.
No way.
We started off with a win, and I won Best Speaker as well. And I was like, okay, this debate thing is interesting. And so I just started exposing myself more to debate and getting more and more into training, and from there it just kicked off.
I mean, my earliest memory of debate is basically primary school, and I think the only thing I remember about debate is usually maybe at the end of English class, the teacher would say, okay, so here is the topic. Is this better than that?
Yeah.
You know that that's the OG. That's like level 1 debating. So is this better than that? And then they sort of separate. Let's say the class into 2. And then so the opposers and the proposers, and they pick is it the chief whip, the judge, and the secretary. And so that's my earliest memory of debate. So I think most of us are stuck on thinking that that's all debate is. And I think I would love if you just expand our knowledge, because you're talking about world champion, you're talking about all this. I would love to know, like, is it still that same? Is this better than that? Or did it, did it expand a bit?
Well, there are so many different types of debate formats that take in the form of, first of all, different teams. So you have debate formats that take 3 speakers per team and have 2 sides. There's debate formats that have 2 speakers per team and have 4 sides. So there's so many different types that you can do. But the one that we usually specialize in is 2 speakers per team, and there's 4 sides, but there's one side proposing, one side opposing. So there's 2 teams on the proposers, 2 teams on the opposers, and you're all fighting against each other. Like, just because you're proposing with someone, it doesn't mean you're friends.
What?
So they usually then pick one winner because it goes first to 4th. Yeah, so that's how they rank the teams. And usually the most interesting part about debate for me, because I don't care the format, just the motions for me.
That's what I'm trying to say. The motions must be So have they evolved? Do you argue? It's arguing, right?
Yeah, basically.
Do you argue about more important issues? Like, just social issues, political issues? What topics, do these debates usually range in? So this
gets me very excited to talk about, because the debate topics range in every single thing, especially current things. So you can get topics all the way from AI, all the way to UK banning virginity testing, all the way to surgical strikes of the military, all the way to environment and politics. Like, it can be crazy. And you also get hypothetical debates. Like if, for example, we were to have some memory erasing software. This house prefers the existence of this software or something like that. So you're given context sometimes. If the debate is a bit unclear, you get an info slide which basically tells you, okay, this is what a memory erasing software does, this is what it doesn't do, and then you're given the motion that says, it's worded however, that says, for example, we support the use of the memory erasing software. So debates really range.
They really just range. And I think that's the most interesting bit, because it could be anything. So you basically get to study and inform yourself and come up with these very sharp points,
Exactly. And
it must be fun to slam dunk and have the last remaining sentence,
Amazing. I love closing debates because you just get the last word and you're like, yes. Think about that.
I know, right? Let that sit in you for a while.
And just mic drop out.
Exactly. Like the mic drop moments must be amazing. So that's the one thing I do remember about debates. Whenever they're winning, whether the opposers or the proposers win, it's always the closing remarks. It's always the mic drop moment.
Exactly. It's a performance. It's a ceremony.
There is that too.
Yes.
Are you guys prone to theatrics when you're doing this?
Oh my god.
No way!
Girl,
Debate has
let me
definitely
tell you,
evolved.
there are some competitions where people will actually dress the part. Or where people will bring a specific, because you get your motion and you get 15 minutes to prepare. And you're not allowed to Google or anything. Like, this is knowledge from your head.
Okay.
7-minute speech.
Yeah.
And so some people, for example, if it's a tech motion, I've seen this debate where the guy already had like his laptop, his Apple Watch, his what. He brought them to the podium to make a point.
Wow.
The theatrics in that debate were insane. So debaters do anything and everything, and it's a whole performance. You're not limited.
Do they add you plum points for the drama?
No. The drama is just to get the audience buzzing.
Okay.
But the judging metric is
also
very strict.
To make it entertainment.
Yeah, exactly.
Entertaining,
exactly.
I guess.
For entertaining, yeah.
Well, Chantelle, first of all, I'll just like to say you are very inspiring.
Thank you.
What you're doing with Suds is amazing. So I'd just love to know, for people out there who are listening to you, what are sort of the basic principles you live by? Yeah, just share with us more about that.
Cool. So I really like this question because my principles have really evolved as I've evolved.
Yeah.
And so now they focus on consistency.
Okay.
Really and truly, consistency is my main principle. Striving to have some sort of continuous improvement. I really like the Kaizen method of development from Japan that says that continuous and constant improvement is what gets you to the top.
Okay.
And so it means that even at a micro level, you don't have to be doing these grandeur sort of ceremonial changes to say, oh, now I'm this and now I'm going to do that. But like the small things you do on the side, this means like, for example, that one extra minute you're able to add to your training session or that one article that you're able to read at night before you go to bed. These small incremental changes that you make in your routine and in your lifestyle basically speak to what consistency means for me.
Okay.
And the importance of that, I think, is that you don't even know the change is happening until you reach one point in time and you're like, hold up, I was able to do this, and like 2 years ago I was never even able to begin a speech.
It just hits you.
It just hits you and you're like, wow, So I think that consistency and just being intentional about your life and your routines and the small little choices you make in your everyday life, not to go for to tots, for example, on Thursday, but rather to go and watch a debate video and train with your partner about strategic
that is very
comparatives. Yes, it's very intentional.
And it's a sacrifice you're making.
So much sacrifice that we've made to get to where we are.
Yeah.
And I don't take any of that for granted because it's not just me who makes that sacrifice. It's everyone around me, my committee, my partner, my team, the whole debate circuit who constantly stays awake till like 3-4 a.m. debating and discussing ideas and formulating motions. And it's just a lifestyle that calls for you to be consistent, intentional, and disciplined.
And, as you're getting ready to leave the chair next semester, what would you say, how would you summarize your journey?
Wow.
This is like from 2020, right?
Yeah.
And it's now 3 years?
Yeah.
This is the third year.
Yeah.
How would you summarize your journey? What would you miss the most?
Oh, gosh. I will definitely miss the being able to take control of where I want the club to go.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that having big dreams and everything is one thing, but being able to actually see the results of your execution is definitely another thing.
Yeah, it's a game changer.
It's definitely a game changer. And I think seeing my members just grow and evolve and become who they are and just learn more about themselves through us is just inexplicable to me. It's invaluable.
I know. You can't explain it even.
I can't explain it. And it just makes me think of like young me or young Kagia. As me and Kagia entered at the same time. And so we always reflect back in our midnight meetings about strategy. We always have these sessions where we go back and we're like, oh my gosh, when we first entered the club, remember when we used to do this? Or remember how we just couldn't grasp what a motion was, what a speech was. And now we're here actually teaching African debaters and mentoring and coaching.
Wow.
And it's just so crazy. So just seeing us being able to hand that down and pass the baton to all of our members who are committed enough to pull the crazy hours that we pull and seeing their results materialize from that is something I'm really going to miss as chair.
It's definitely been worth the journey,
Yeah.
I think you have enjoyed every single bit of it, even the difficult moments. I have a feeling you have enjoyed it, because you need both.
You do.
You need both the difficult and the good moments to make it like worth the experience.
Yeah, you can't appreciate where you've come from if you don't go through some tough times.
Right. Yeah. But just before we sign out, could you just speak on the upcoming events, because I know there's stuff happening this year.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yes. So, first of all, we have a few online events and a few physical events as well.
Okay.
And so the biggest event of the year is the Pan-African Debate Championships happening in December, and it's being hosted by Strathmore.
Okay.
And so we have already reserved our team slots as USIU, and so our journey towards getting there is just training the members and recruiting as many new members as possible to come and debate and come and judge in that high-level championship, because that's where they'll meet the best speakers of Africa, and that's where they'll be able to network and everything. So Pan-African Debate Championships, since it's just here in Kenya, they have to, there's no excuse.
Yeah, you have to show up.
You have to show up and you have to represent.
True.
You have to succeed.
You have to do your best,
yes, that's definitely the main event of the year. Looking forward, we are also looking at just getting merchandise for our rebranding to solidify.
Oh, you guys are getting merch.
Yes, we are.
Dope.
We are. So we want to just get the designs going. Once my team is back from Uganda, that's our second agenda for the semester. Okay. Just get the designs going, start selling around merch, and being able to just leave our mark as Suds that's also physical, as well as, these articles and things like that. Also, we want to be able to just expand more and create more of a space for poetry and public speaking.
Yes, so, I think that would be nice. I think this year would be nice to see poetry and, take a center stage. It would be nice. For example, when you brought up Simba, it would be nice to have these events where we could watch some of our own stage these poems.
Exactly. So like partnering with really good clubs like Poetry Club, for example, to have like a poetry, spoken arts and public speaking night is something that we can definitely do, because now that things are back physical, we can there's no excuse to say that there's no opportunity or environment for these guys. Like, we are now able to avail the environment now that we have access to school resources. So that's also what I want us to do, to just rebuild the poetry and public speaking sector as Suds as well. And lastly, really just keeping everyone on toes with different competitions, because I think leading up to the Pan-African Championships, there's a lot. It's not just training. You need to throw yourself out there and do different competitions, online, physical. That's why I was telling you in the break about us going to Mashujaa Open in Strathmore next week. We want to bring as many teams as possible. Just expose guys to like the online debate circuit and the physical debate circuit in preparation for those big tournaments. So
it's going to be a big year for you guys. It's going to be a busy year for you guys.
Very.
But I guess you're excited.
I am. I really am, and I want to leave like the seat of Suds chair with a bang.
I know.
I
know. And at this point, honestly, how can't you?
Exactly.
Well, thank you so much, Chantelle, for coming on the show. This has been a very, very, very interesting and lovely interview. I don't know about you. I've had such an amazing time. I've learned so much about debate. I've learned so much about spoken arts and poetry. And I'm pretty sure everyone out there who's listening has picked at least something. Especially I liked when you talked about the consistency bit, building on tiny things. I feel like that really spoke to me.
Thank you.